Is this an actual negotiating tactic by the president, though, or do you think this is the constructive way to do it?
I mean, it's constructive in 5th grade.
All right, not all caucus members are happy with the way the president has branded them and fingered them for not going along and supporting the latest health care measure. They're trying to rework that now. The strongest words, though, come from the president on this, that the Freedom Caucus is going to hurt the entire Republican agenda if they don't get on the team, and fast, to a Virginia Republican congressman, a member of that Freedom Caucus, Tom Garrett. Congressman, good to have you. What did you think of not only the president's singling out the caucus, but Amash's and some of the other colleagues' response?
Our response was that perhaps he suffered from Stockholm syndrome. You know, what I said to the president, in essence, in the Oval Office last Wednesday was, you shouldn't treat your friends like your enemies and your enemies like your friends. And so when he tweeted last night that he might have to work against some of us in 2018, I'd like to take this opportunity to send the message to the president that I'll be working for him in 2020. And maybe when he starts to determine who the people who can rely on are, we'll see him circle back around to us, because we're the conservatives, we're the leaders, we're the ones that have shown a willingness heretofore to drain this swamp, unless maybe the president and I just have a fundamental misunderstanding on the definition of the word swamp.
Now, when you met with the president, was he upset at you?
Well, look, I mean, here's what I admire about the president. He has a mission. He has decided he's going to accomplish it, and he's doing the best he can to do that. Certainly, he's a human being, and he's subject to sways and passion, and he's used to being able to do things as an executive. That's not what our founders bequeathed us. But we're going to stay where we are as it relates to principle, because that's what we promised the American people we would do. When we said repeal, we meant the closest thing to a full repeal we could get. With the rules of the Senate. I genuinely am honored to follow Jack Welch on your show. He's right. We need to start playing hardball over on that side of the building. I believe the rules of the Senate are almost an existential threat to the Republic. But put the pressure, Mr. President, on those people who have opposed you, not those who have supported you. We want to succeed with you,
but
and we are the conduit to that success.
So the way he figures, you're no different than a Democrat.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, we all take counsel from individuals, and I might suggest that perhaps he should consider whose counsel he takes. And there's a history here. There were a group of people who were, by and large, loyal. You know, the Trump campaign headquarters in my district were my offices. He pulled out of our state, but we kept on working for him. I'm going to keep on working with him, because I think we together
are working for the American people. But you're also more secure in your district, sir. I mean, you're very, very popular, and I think a lot of your colleagues, most of your colleagues, are in a similar sort of enviable position, so that you can continue to vote the way you have, even though your critics are saying you got 80% of what you wanted in this health care rework and you still rejected it. So they come back and say, what's to make you more supportive this go round?
Well, look, our job's not to get this thing done, it's to get it done right. And I'll tell you, Neal, we're in an R+5 if you look at the Cook Index. That means that we're not that secure. I'm not here to get reelected. I'm here to do what I said I was going to do.
And I
take Donald Trump at his word.
What does R+5 mean?
That means that in a generic ballot that I should win by about 5 points. So it's not a gerrymandered district. It's a super Republican district. But what I think is, if you look people in the eyes and you say, this is what I'm going to do, and you do it, that you'll get reelected, because people will appreciate that breath of spring. I think that's what Donald Trump was to the American voter in 2016. We're his people. I'm inviting him to come home.
So do you think that there's any problem right now with relationship with the president and revisiting health care, that it was a mistake to go back to the same well, that you guys should have moved on, whatever thoughts you have about bridging the gap in the health care measure, but go right into tax cuts, because why risk it?
No, why risk it is the attitude of a failed nation. Failure is the enemy of success, and the fear of failure drives tepid steps. We need to be unafraid to fail. We need to return to that well until we get it right.
But if you have a victory on tax cuts and a victory on doing the tax, so then you can go back to this, right?
Sure, no, to that extent I agree with it. I mean, Jack Welch is brilliant. He's the best thing that happened in GE. I've hated to see what happened in the last 17 years. Yeah, take the win, but we have to circle back. We can't say, okay, we're moving on, we're not going to do health care.
Congressman, thank you. Really good seeing you. I appreciate it.
Neal, great seeing you. And last time I told Charles he was my favorite, I was kidding.
Really? Okay, I'll make note of that, making your final appearance here, Congressman.